What's up, you guys? Let's kind of go over today's session and what I'm looking at going into tomorrow. Starting with news on the schedule, we do have consumer confidence tomorrow, manufacturing index, and we do have Trump on the mic at 1. Just kind of want to be aware. You never know what he's going to say. So kind of looking at the indexes, we do have a little bit of divergence across the indexes here. Starting with that Globex gap down, nice recovery, followed by a gap up in the Nasdaq, or small tiny gap up in Nasdaq, but gap up in the S&P and the Dow. Dow runs into distribution as we kind of approach this premium level above. Runs in distribution right here at 69 or 49, 60, 49,635. The S&P and the Nasdaq, we do kind of break above these premium levels, and they are kind of holding as support currently. We kind of see break right above that, and we do hold that as support once. When it's tested, S&P does retest this level a couple times, break above 1, 2, 3 tests of that level. So looking at the Russell, we kind of actually teeny tiny baby gap up, runs into distribution at this level, followed by its sell-off. Looks like we trade some, a little bit traditionals down to targets. So kind of a little bit of divergence. What I'm really looking for here is basically for us to either see a continuation of this sequence here that trades. As of right now, it looks like it does pull back into that 38% retracement, right? Front running that 50%. So that target's above 25,980. I would be watching for either a continuation or a break. If we do break this sequence, it would be here at 25,800, pushing us into potentially retesting some downside support here. That's what I would say, 25,760, give or take. So 739s to 760s, the Nasdaq. Looking at the S&P, kind of the same. See whether we have a continuation of this sequence here. 6,960, targeting above at 7,008. Or if we're going to kind of break down and retest some of these downside support levels, we will see. I'm going to move my line in the sand up a little bit as well. Typically, when we break and hold above these premium levels, it's just not, for me, the best place for me to want to go short unless I see some sort of trend shift or something else to indicate the sentiment shifting. Because you have to consider when you're taking a counter trend trade, you have the potential for us to really, for the pullbacks to be a little bit more shallow. So if you see here, we kind of do sell off a little bit into that, but there's not a lot of fall through to the downside, not a lot of fall through to the upside. So we're kind of just in this wait and see until that Fed meeting on Wednesday, I think. And so taking a look at gold and silver, you could see I do actually have this level from an earlier video, 5,037. Looks like we kind of consolidate right above that target, followed by a little bit of a sell-off. Next target's above here at 5,278. That's like my big extension target. And then for silver, my target here for this extension was $121.40. We kind of front run that by $4. So we do just kind of trade into that next. Looks like it's not a traditional or extension, not traditional. So we do trade into that next traditional here. So this target is above at 123. Looking at gold, we're holding this. Looks like this was an extension. Yeah, holding this extension right now with that target above at 51.59 for a continuation of this sequence. Looking at silver, I mean, it's really easy to be like, oh my God, what happened? But you have to consider we're in price discovery because it's at all-time highs. And as we're like kind of moving around and the book is going to be thinner up here. So the price is going to move faster and it can also reverse faster because there's just not a lot of like value built up here. I would assume if I overlaid like a volume profile, we would see that. So, you know, this is just where you don't really want to be chasing longs unless you see something giving you confirmation. Because as we kind of really break into this no man's land, I would say probably right above here, you know, if you chase longs into this area where this is no man's land, it can basically reverse and move fast because the book is thin for silver, especially up here, I would assume. So just something to keep in mind if you do trade silver. Gold is not as bad because the book's not as thick or not as thin. So, you know, you don't want to get chopped up, maybe size down, trade the micro contract. But, you know, really as we start to break above and see, since we have a different distribution pattern in gold, you could chase, you know, you wouldn't want to chase past maybe up here. That's where I would put my premium level for gold, just because this looks a little bit like a poor high. This one, not so much. So that's kind of what I have for gold and silver. Anyways, hopefully that helps you guys out. See you guys later. Bye.